We've been measuring core stability for getting on for 30 years now, and I'm often asked, what is core stability? Is it really that important? How do you create it, etc. So there are many elements to core stability, but I will start with the first one, that being proximal stiffness creates distal athleticism. And what do I mean by that? Let's just consider a uniarticular muscle, the pec major that crosses my shoulder, the ball and socket joint. When that muscle contracts, distally it creates arm flexion. Proximally it bends my rib cage towards the joint. So if I was to create a pushing effort just with this single muscle, my core would leak away, and that's not a very effective athleticism at all. However, if I create core stability and stiffen down proximally, 100% of that athleticism now creates the athletic effect. Now I'm going to put a more critical case forward. Let's consider the child in the neurology ward over at the hospital who now has lost the neural control or has a paralyzed quadratus lumborum, a primary core stabilizer. They will walk like this. They get good stance on one leg, and yet on the other, the pelvic platform collapses because they don't have quadratus lumborum on that one side. So if you don't have the critical elements of core stability, you can't even walk. That's how critical it is to create proximal stability for distal athleticism. Principle number 2 is primarily the spine is a stack of bones that are flexible. No engineer would build a flexible rod and then ask it to bear compressive load. They build a steel stiffened beam. Your body has to dance and move, so you have a flexible spinal column where the muscles being conducted by the conductor, your brain, and the muscles acting like an orchestra to play a tune allow you to dance and move. But when you are required to bear load, you will need to build a stiffening guy wire system. The muscles of the front of the abdomen, the sides, and the back then must be stiffened. You won't bear load, your spine will buckle if you don't. So there's the blend between stability and mobility and the tuning of muscle that's required. The third type of stability has to do with joint micromovements. The spine is a stack of vertebrae. When a joint or the disc has been flattened a little bit, either through aging or injury, the first indicator is a little bit of micro movement at the joint, which may be associated with pain. So the challenge for the clinician then is to define that as a pain trigger and then find immediately a strategy to stiffen out that micro movement triggering pain. So with Adela, I would like you just to pretend now that you're my patient, and I want you to completely relax the guy wire and the stiffening girdle. Let your muscles, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Now we're going to bump your back 1.5 times body weight. So just relax and go up on your toes and land on your heels, and you may say, you just triggered my pain. It might have been central back pain. It might have been your right toe on your right foot. It just got a little numb for a second. Now, do you remember what nerve serves your right toe? No. It's the 5th lumbar on the right side. So if that happened, we would know, we'd start looking at that 5th level for a laxity and a micro movement triggering that pain. Now, I'm going to intervene. I'm going to create a stiffness to see if we can engineer out that micro movement, but I don't know what it is yet. So the first one, you may have heard of abdominal bracing. So the cue, the clinical cue, there's your navel. I'm going to come lateral to the navel and lateral to rectus abdominis and say, push my fingers out. Beautiful. Now you've created that girdle. Keep that stiffness and repeat the perturbation. Go up on your toes and land on your heels, and you might say, my pain is gone, my toe has settled. So we've now found a tuned stiffness. Not too much, not too little. If it was still a little bit of pain left, I might ask you, let's try a little harder, let's converge on that. Or you might say, you increased my pain, because there's a compressive cost to that strategy. So this time, take your thumbs and externally rotate like you're hitchhiking. Are you old enough to remember hitchhiking? No. Well, that's ask your mom and dad. Now, I want you to pull down with your pecs and lats and leave your belly quiet. Now, with that stiffening strategy from above, go up on your toes and land on your heels. And you might say, ah, that took my pain away. But you see how we tune and search for the strategy that we can then teach you to take your pain away. So if you are expecting or going into a situation where you're at risk, you will tune your body. If you're just going for a walk or a slow dance or something like that, you don't need it. You're not at risk for triggering that. So once again, there's many different triggers of pain, but those that fall into the category of instability, I've shown you a few examples, and the other two notions, stability, sufficient stability is absolutely essential for a load-resilient, tough spine.